So this video shows how I config on AWS for my personal project multi-tenancy gradient system. And you can see on the screen, I have 5 different AWS EC2 instance, one instance named Portal. This Portal instance will hold the Portal side application where the grader come in, to set up the gradient attribute for each tenant, and then the rest for each of the instance will hold the gradient page application where the grader gonna come in to part the UML and grade to do a grading. So after you have 5 different AWS EC2 instance, the next thing you're gonna do, which is create a target group that associate with each tenant. So let's take a look at how I create the target group. As you can see on the screen, I have 5 different target groups. Of course, each target group will be associated with one instance that I created earlier. For example, the portal target group will be associated with the portal instance that I created earlier. As you can see on the screen, I highlight here, the portal target group will be associated with portal instance. Similar for Kang target group will be associated with Kang instance. So after you create Kang, the target group, in order for the application scalable, so you need to do some auto scaling setup so that your application is able to scale horizontally. So let's see how I set up the auto scaling group. Okay, for demo purposes, because I only have 15 minutes, but I need to show everything. So in this demo, I only show one of the auto scaling group that I set up here. This auto scaling group, it will be associated with the portal target group. But in order for AWS know how to scalable, which is how to add more instance, remove instance, so we need to set up the policy. So let's take a look at what policy that I set up for this auto scaling group. For this auto scaling group, I'm gonna do the following. If the CPU utilization less than 15%, I just remove the one instance from that. If it's the CPU utilization is have more than 40%, I'm gonna add one more instance. So this is how you set up the auto scaling group to make your application horizontally scalable. So after you set up the auto scaling group, you set up the target group and AWS EC2 instance. The next thing you're gonna do, which is set up the load balancer. So let's see how I do it. So as you might know, Amazon AWS provide 2 different type of load balancer, which is application load balancer and classic load balancer. Because of this project, I'm gonna choose application load balancer because it supports the path routing. So let's see how I configure it. From the config load balancer page, you just provide a name. For example, I'm gonna provide compute to 81 as a name of this load balancer. The scheme I'm gonna choose, which is internet facing. The next thing you're gonna do, which is config the listener, which is tell load balancer which port they're gonna listen when the request come in. For this project, I set up port 8080. The next thing you're gonna do, which is set up the availability zone, because I choose the scheme as an internet facing for this load balancer, it requires that you need to have 2 different subnet. So for this one, I'm gonna set up, but before that, you need to select the VPC, of course. Alright, so I'm gonna select one of the VPC that I created earlier. In this particular VPC, I have 2 different AZ, US West 1A and US West 1C, but because it requires only 2 different subnet, I only choose. And you can see on US West 1C, they have 2 different subnet, one public and one private. So I'm gonna choose 2 different public in different 2 AZ. Alright, so the next thing you're gonna do, okay, alright. The next thing you're gonna do, which is config the security group. So I'm gonna select one of the existing security group that I created earlier, which is compute281-me-dmz. Next thing you're gonna do, which is attach the default target group to this load balancer. But I'm gonna do it here because I already created that application load balancer earlier. So let's take a look at. Let's go back to dashboard and see. Alright, so as I stated earlier that I already attached the default target group, which is the portal, as you can see right here, to this particular application load balancing. However, in order for multi-tenancy, in order to set up the multi-tenancy on application load balancer based on the path routing, so I need to set up some path routing rule for this particular load balancer. Know when which request come in, they know how it's gonna serve this request. So let's take a look at the rule that I set up. And you can see on the screen, I have 5 different target group, and of course, I'm gonna have 5 different rule. So let's say if the URL have the contact root sun mean the name of one of the tenant that I have for this project. So if the URL contain the contact root last sun and follow with whatever, it's gonna forward to sun target group. And similar for Hardside, Kotlin, and King. And of course, if the URL contact would not fall into one of the first 4 rules, it's gonna go to the default one, which is the portal target group. That's how I config on AWS. But before, in order to for this application in order to config multi-tenancy, I need to set up the database side as well. So one of the solution that I use for this particular project, which is the fixed column extension. But before that, let's take a look at one of the RDS AWS instance that I created for this project. Alright, so as you can see on the screen, I have one of the AWS RDS instance up and running right now. It is a MySQL, so let's try to connect to it to see which table that I created in order to make the project become multi-tenancy. Alright, so let's try to disconnect this one. You can see on the screen, I already created a connection to connect to that AWS RDS instance. So let's try to connect to it. Alright, so you can see I have 3 different tables on this project. So in order to set up multi-tenancy on the database side, you can see the tenant table will contain all the tenant information, for example, tenant ID, tenant name, etc. The tenant field will be host all the grading attribute, for example, scale, point, complete or non-complete, and common. The next one, which is tenant data. This tenant data will host all the tenant data for this particular project. So that is how I config on AWS side, and then how I config on the database side in order to make the project become multi-tenancy. Alright, so next thing I'm gonna show you the demo of my application.